Who's gonna lose? What's it gonna prove? Who will be bruised?
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Lore Reloaded. I am your wondrous host, James. And I can't hear myself. Can you guys hear me? I think I can. Let me know if you can hear me or not. That could just be on my side. But as I was saying, my name is James. I will be your lore master of the day. Hey, if you haven't, check me out, twitch.tv/lore reloaded or twitter.com/lore reloaded as always. And if you're watching this video on demand, you know exactly how this is about to start. Let me see if I can hear myself. TV/lore. Yeah, I'm a little low. I could turn that up a little bit. But yeah. So let's take a look, say hi to some people. Jackson Kennedy all up in his house. We also got Zero Cool, Jared Paquette, 100% American Buffalo. DV says he hasn't seen me in a while. DV, haven't seen you either. Master Yub Yub, Whisper Darkling. Who else? We got the Evil Scott. Never a party without Whisper Darkling and the Evil Scott here. Canis Akaranai also. Death Scream, Victor Garcia, and Beyond News. So let's just jump into it. Let's get right into the news. So I'm gonna start this out and say that if I'm being honest, I take this somewhat with a grain of salt. And what I mean by that is that while I trust the people I don't believe the people who are saying this are lying. And I don't necessarily believe the information they're giving is inaccurate either. But what I will say is that we're still in the early stages. It's possible that that information is either apt to change or could be skewed. PJ's channel says, sorry for a comment I left last week where I said you suck. I get about 50 of those a day, so no big deal, PJ's channel. And if you believe that, it is not hurting my feelings either. I'd be interested to know why you think I suck. Chase is in the house. Says, hey guys, I'll be ghosting the stream since I'm on a production line at work. Good to see you again. Good to see you, Chase. So, again, this information, we're taking it with a grain of salt, but really that's not necessarily the main conversation here. What I want to do is let's just assume that this information is 100% accurate. Let's say that without a doubt, what we're about to talk about is happening. This is going down. So, this from trekVerse. Again, I like trekVerse. I'm not necessarily saying trekVerse is a liar or anything like that. I'm not sure that this is what's going to happen. But this is what he says is going to happen. This is on his Facebook page, facebook.com/groups/trekVerse. And he says, I have bad news. Info just in. Kurtzman is in charge of Picard, and it is being made in the Bad Robot universe, the same as Star Trek Discovery, which is the Prime timeline. So it's being made in the Prime timeline is what he's saying. But you get what he's saying. It's being made with the updates and everything. It will show Romulus and Vulcan as destroyed and will not be the same timeline Picard as we now know. It is the same timeline, but I get what he's saying. It's not going to be it's not going to be nostalgic Trek, what we're saying. This is the darker parts. The details will include the new Klingons, and nothing visually will quite match, as we'll have the same changes to avoid infringing the original copyright and the same BS. trekVerse maybe has something that I don't know about, but everything I've read, there's no copyright infringement, no issues at all whatsoever. They're on record as saying it. Now, executives lying about that I would not be surprised. But I don't know. Again, that's just me being honest. Going back to what trekVerse is saying, the only thing that could change this is Les loses control of CBS and Cherie fires Kurtzman. Right now, this deal is locked and loaded. So let's assume all of that is true for the moment. Let's say that the Romulus is destroyed, Vulcan is destroyed, the new updated way things are is going to be happening, and so everything you see in the Picard universe is reflective of Star Trek Discovery. My initial reaction will probably surprise you guys. And I guess because my initial reaction is as, all right, so this is the new Trek. So let's look at how it's going to be based on the restrictions, based on what we've seen on the new Trek. Now, what does that mean? That doesn't mean that I'm not going to tear it to thunder if it stays inconsistent with the original Trek and tries to pretend like it's all prime timeline. I'm still going to have my fun there. But, you know, if they're going to continue to make this kind of Trek, then I think we should just hold it to that standard. And you guys probably disagree with that, or a large majority of you will, but what's the point? If this is what they're going to do, then we can say, hey, this isn't the original Trek. We can, and they try to say it's prime timeline. Hey, we'll show how it's not. And we can do comparisons. We can say, this is why Deep Space Nine was better. But ultimately, I think we just got to sit back and take our medicine. And, you know, it just is what it is. SC saying, Irremotic Syndrome Picard Trek for the win. Yeah, I mean, I was joking beforehand. I said Star Trek, the geriatric ward. Because honestly, I mean, it's intriguing to have the original cast. It is intriguing. But they're getting up there in age. You know, this is going to sound... I love the character of Picard. I don't agree with everything he says or does, but I, in fact, even like the actor. I would love to meet him. But I don't know if they're getting that old, if it's going to be something worthwhile. I'm not sure. So when was Vulcan destroyed? I'm not sure, to be honest with you. There's not any explanation. Now, a lot of people are trying to say, well, it's JJ-verse. They're going to bring all of JJ-verse in and say that it overwrites the continuity of the nostalgia Trek. This would be a Star Wars type deal if they did that. I don't think they're going to, though. That seems like a horrific, just an absolutely horrific idea. I don't know why they would do that. I think that if they're going to destroy Vulcan, it'll probably be post-Dominion War. You know, I don't necessarily... I don't necessarily see that, you know? SC starting the trolling early. If you want old Trek, just watch old Trek for F's sake. Not saying you have to love anything new, but don't hate it just because it's new. Do I have to say this every stream, SC? Because, buddy, you know the response to that. That's like if your wife decided to go and bang the neighbor next door. That's something new, and then you're like, hey, I don't like this. I don't think this is a good thing. This isn't the way things used to be. And you're like, whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa. If you want the old monogamous loyal me, then you should just go back and remember the way it was and play those memories in your head. Not saying you have to love the new slutty me, but don't hate it because it's new. I'm just saying, buddy. Just saying. No Stripe 361, so a soft reboot. No. If they went JJ-verse, that's not a soft reboot. That is a reimagining. I'm not convinced they're going to do the JJ-verse. I think they're going to, if Vulcan is destroyed, they're going to destroy it post-Dominion War. It could be the Borg. It could be maybe... That could be a Dominion weapon, one of the last Dominion weapons. I mean, there's a lot of ways you could destroy Vulcan. I'm not sure if they are destroying Vulcan, I'm not sure what this need to destroy Vulcan is. But, again, SC, I'm surprised you aren't at least agreeing with me on this point. if this is going to be the new Trek standard, then to some degree, I do feel like you either just need to stop watching it, or hold it to the similar standard that it is. You can point out and say, hey, I don't think this is as good as what it used to be. And I think you had the opportunity to make it just like it did before. Axanar proves you can still do, in our day and age, you can do what the audience wants. You can make an interesting war story and still keep it to the Star Trek, to nostalgia Trek. Absolutely, 100%, you can do that. But they don't want to. So I don't know. SC says that's a fail analogy. It's more like I happen to like blondes, but what's wrong with the brunette? How is that in any way? Okay, SC. Okay, but seriously, how is my analogy less apt than your analogy? Hair color. The new Star Trek is just the differences in nostalgia Trek and new Trek is hair color. That's how similar they are. It's still hair. It's still on a human. It's still as long. It could be curly. It could be straight. I mean, there's just no difference except hair color. Seriously, but I mean, look, you can be a fan of new Trek. You can sit there and say new Trek is fine or whatever, but come on, SC. Come on, buddy. Come on. Seriously, okay? Another thing that was said by Mary Chieffo, who plays L'Rell, is that the Klingons are getting a bit of a refit. Take that as you will, but it could be that they're making them more tossed. You know, what I heard about the Klingons and what he said, and this, again, all of this is secondhand, and it's not even completely signed, so we don't know what's going to happen. None of this could happen. But my understanding, from what I've heard from the different sources, is that the Vulcans the Klingons will continue to look like they are. Which, again, I mean, I'm going to call that out every time I talk about the Vulcan, or every time I talk about the Klingons. But just do it for what it is. You know, just, it's new, it's different. They're not changing it up by any stretch of the imagination. And so it is what it is, you know? Axanar is fanboys only wet dream, not a general audience want. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, there's nothing about Axanar that general audiences don't want. You're right. There's nothing about it that general audience. There's nothing. Only fanboys want Axanar. Only, and that's it. You know, absolutely. Called it. 3.5 to 4 million people. Only fanboys. Yeah, that's what it is. Oh, you make me tired.
All it takes is one bad day. That's how far the world is from where I am. Just one bad day.
So, maybe you can answer this for me, coming from the English gent, which thank you so much, guys. Again, the way this channel stays afloat is because of generous donations from fans like you and Patreons at patreon.com/Lore Reloaded. Maybe you can answer this for me. I keep hearing copyright licensing is a constant issue with old Trek, but nobody explains why. Everyone wants primetime line post-Nemesis. Why can't CBS just bring on the Axanar guys? Well, I don't think that there's different levels here. First off, I don't think that CBS should bring on the Axanar guys. This is an unpopular opinion. I think the Axanar guys got exactly what they deserved based on what they were doing. And what I would have loved is if the Axanar, if they had taken the idea of Axanar. SC says, counting repeat views. Yeah, that's not how YouTube works. They actually get rid of repeat views, but that's okay, SC. Whatever makes you sleep at night. Towards the copyright, the English gent. Which is a good question. I have found no evidence, none. I in fact have found contradictory evidence that copyright is at all an issue. CBS doesn't, as far as I can see, have any copyright issues with Nostalgia Trek. There's none whatsoever. Paramount and CBS play really nice together. CBS actually should be getting all of the rights, I believe. But even if they weren't, CBS has access to every piece of copyright that they would ever want, save for possibly the Sovereign class ship, like the Sovereign class itself. But even then, I think they now have access to it. The executives of CBS, the writers of CBS, have all said that it's not a copyright issue, that it's not a licensing issue. Additionally, going on to the next piece, is that there are Nostalgia Trek licensed products out right now. CBS is licensing all of those games you're looking at: Star Trek Adversaries, Star Trek Online, Star Trek, just whatever. All of them are being licensed by CBS. All of them are using Nostalgia Trek assets. And so there's nothing, there's no indication. If there was an issue with Nostalgia Trek from CBS, Paramount would be doing the licensing. And Paramount isn't touching any of this. So there's no evidence to me that I can find that shows that there's a licensing issue. I wish Axanar had done. I wish, again, what the guys at Axanar did was wrong. And they deserved the smackdown that they got. That said, I really do wish...
What is on your face? Is that a disguise?
Excuse me.
I really do...
Clown.
I really do wish that CBS had come to an agreement with Axanar. I do. I wish that CBS had hired on Alec Peters, but they didn't do anything wrong. They may be overreacting with everyone else, but CBS was right to do to Axanar what it did. I love Axanar, by the way. Brilliantly done. I wish we could have seen it, but in the background, that's my opinion. Star Trek Discovery Season 2 and Picard series seems like CBS wants old fans back, but don't exactly know how. Should have made the original series reimagined, uniforms the standard. They look much better than Star Trek Discovery uniform. I agree. I do agree with that. There was a lot of issues in the background that I think caused problems. So to be fair, there were some issues in the background that could have caused that issue. That said, Season 2 is supposed to be fixed. All of these issues, all of the bad blood, all of the mixed messages, it's all fixed. And so in Season 2, they have to repair all of this. And they're not. We see that they go from the original series uniforms to Discovery. Pike goes to a Discovery uniform. And so, I don't know. I agree. They missed a lot there. Do you really think that Sir Patrick would return to Trek without having it in his contract that he will have a lot of say in how Picard is portrayed? I do. I do for a couple of reasons. First off, one of the things that I have an issue with Sir Patrick is that I think he's on board with the new Trek. I really do. Based on what you've said, I think he's on board with the new Trek. I think he's okay with it. Also, Sir Patrick has not had a lot of acting gigs in a long while. And that was kind of pointed out, that he's been trying to get some acting gigs he hasn't had, and I think that he would... It seems like he may be more apt to now go that route. Jackson Kennedy, what Picard would you like to see? Admiral Picard, Cadet Teacher Picard, Mirror Picard? Want to see old characters come back too? The thing that worries me about this is that we're about to see Star Trek: The Geriatric Ward. I don't know that the older... I don't know that the older actors is a good idea. That said, I would be interested to see Admiral Picard, and I would love to see him put in a... I would like to see him done right, where you have the diplomat, the peacemaker, the guy who can be a tactician, but is more cerebral. And I'd like to see him be tested to a situation where it looks like combat is the only way to go. And so that's what I would be interested to see. I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're going to make him some form of civilian. That's what he said himself, is that they're going to make him more of a civilian type. And that's where they're going to go. And I don't know that that's going to work. We've always seen Trek from Starfleet's point of view. And that is really what it's about. So, I don't know. PJ's channel, Stewart won't let them F this up. Have you seen what Stewart has done? What Sir Patrick has done in TNG? There's a lot he's willing to allow them to F up. He did the movies. He was in Nemesis. Obviously, he'll let them F it up. You know? He was in Generation. Honestly, Star Trek is a property. Honestly, Star Trek as a property is so schizophrenic that is a major issue. 5 potential shows. What the heck, man? Yeah, they're going the Star Wars route. They're going the Star Wars is going the Marvel route, and Star Trek is going the Star Wars. So effectively, Star Trek is going the Marvel route. They're trying to make cinematic universes and television universes and things. I mean, it's a way to make money. If I had the ability, I'd do it. Sir Patrick himself has stated he does not want to see Picard remain a captain, either admiral or retired from Starfleet, but something new and different. Yeah, I mean, sure, that's where I think they're going, Whisper Darkling. I don't disagree. I don't think that's necessarily... let me rephrase that. Jean-Luc Picard should not be a captain at this point. He should be an admiral. I agree with that. But not being in Starfleet, doing something with civilian, I don't think that's a good idea. I think that it's on par... I'll say this. I think it's on par with Discovery. Problem is that fans aren't paying for Star Trek Discovery. It's the ones who already had all access that are watching. Yeah, I'm paying for it. I don't want to. Man, I'm looking forward to Discovery being canceled so that I don't have to pay for it anymore. Of course, they're coming out with those 5, so I guess I'll have to do that, right? I'm going to turn this on. Let me know if it's too noisy. Because that might be a little noisy. Let me know. All Access is using just about all its revenue on original content. They want to be Netflix so bad. Whoop. You guys still here? Yeah, that's really loud for me. Let me know if that's really loud for you guys. I'll turn it down if it is. Maybe we should follow the Build-A-Bear model. Star Trek can be everything to everyone. And that's what they're trying to do right now, aren't they? They're putting it in the original series so that it's nostalgic, and then they're updating everything so the millennials like it. Yeah, the noise, it'll take a second for the noise to pop in. Only fanboys are going to pay to watch Star Trek behind the CBS paywall. Why is CBS trying to attract anyone else? There's a reason every sci-fi show died in the 2000s. Yeah, maybe. Gotta love being in the UK. We have it on Netflix, baby. I wish they'd put it on Netflix for everybody. That'd make my life a lot easier. But they won't. They won't do it. I really hope they don't destroy Vulcan in the Prime timeline. It's lazy, like rolling out a 4th Death Star. Yeah, so... They really have a hard-on for wanting to destroy... Vulcan. And I don't understand that. Vulcan has always been a central piece for the writers. The writers have always wanted to do something crazy with it. TNG had the Romulan arc where they tried to take it over. Deep Space Nine wanted to have Vulcan secede. Think about that. Deep Space Nine, if it wasn't for the requirement of the Klingon-Cardassian War, was going to have an arc where Vulcan was to secede after Paradise Lost, which I think would have been interesting. trekVerse completely destroys Vulcan. And Romulus, ultimately, because that still is going to happen, right? So, I don't know. They've always had some kind of hard-on for destroying it. Yeah, I don't know. Whisper Darkling, I understand a company has to make money to function, but CBS takes it to the next level. It's downright highway robbery. I don't. If they had a good product, it might be worth saying, hey, you know, it sucks, but paying the $10. But, I don't know. Captain's Log Galactic Police for the win, says Quasar Productions. Indeed. Indeed. But going back to what I was saying originally, for those who have just joined, if this is the new Trek, if this Trek is going to be the same thing we see in Star Trek Discovery, then I think that with the newer series, when we're doing lore breakdowns, you can compare. That's not unfair to compare like we are. But I think that we should look at it as the reimagining that it is. So if the new one is Discovery 2.0, then let's look at Discovery 2.0. And that's honestly, again, I'll have two parts to it. I'll have my opinion on what it is compared to what it was supposed to be in Prime Timeline, and then what it is for what it is.
Sir? The last thing I expected. Son.
But, yeah, I mean, I don't know. What happens if something destroys Earth? Would it be still Star Trek without Earth? I don't think they'd do that, though. I mean, that would be brave, in my opinion. That would be innovative, to destroy Earth. But I don't think they'll do that. Chris Case, yeah, bring Data back would be cool. I don't think it'd be cool to bring Data, because there's no way to make Data look young, and he wouldn't age. Plus, he's dead. And I seen an interview where he said he would come back. Let me say this, Jackson Kennedy. I would be interested in a source. Can you send me a source with that interview? Because I know he was completely against bringing Data back. Also, Data would be look so old. There'd be no way he wouldn't age. Salil Bhatnagar. Wow, that's a dangerous name. Nager. Bhatnagar. Vulcan destroyed. Sorry, just arrived. So Vulcan in the new one, it's supposed to. Rumor is supposed to be set during the Star Trek Discovery kind of era. You're going to look at that kind of those. The way that looks, and it's going to be with Vulcan and Romulus destroyed. And they could bring back B4. I don't think they're going to. Well, if this new Trek, the mashed up conglomeration of unfocused drivel, well, maybe buying the Blu-rays of old Trek and moving to another franchise is sounding good. That's going to be the only way that they're going to take it to what we want, and that'll never happen. So here's what would need to be done. Every fan of Trek, or 70% of the fans of Trek, would need to say, you know what, we're not doing this, we're moving away. There is no way we're going to do that. There's no way we're going to put up with it and walk away and financially hit CBS. Most all YouTubers, Trek Yards, myself, Space Doc, everybody would need to move away from doing Trek-related stuff. Trek Yards and myself really financially can't do that, and you're not going to have 70% walk away. It's like Axanar. As much as SC likes to troll, he's right about one thing. When they did that to Axanar, a lot of people were saying, well, this is going to ruin it because everybody's going to walk away. They're not going to walk away. They're not. And it's, you know, you can try to make a dent. You can. The only thing that I think we should do is to have conversations like this to, you know, let CBS know when we think they're doing wrong. And if you don't like it, then, yeah, definitely walk away. But I don't know what you could do, you know? So, I'm not really sure. Quasar Productions, I'm not sure. I may be subscribed. You seem familiar. I am subscribed. I think you talked to me a long time ago, wanted me to take a look at your stuff. So, yeah. That's cool. I'm glad it's coming along for you. In The Next Generation, the Stargazer was described as an old battlecruiser, so they maybe show it in Star Trek Discovery with Picard as captain, or Picard would be... I don't even know that Picard would be in... no, there's no way. Picard would not be anywhere near them. Picard wouldn't even be born at that point during Discovery. Picard wasn't alive during the original series, so... Yeah. The Stargazer... I mean... The Stargazer wouldn't be there either. Stargazer is not 22nd, 23rd century. Maybe 23rd century. It's not 22nd. I feel like Hollywood seriously needs some new intellectual properties. They do, and they have it. They have The Expanse, right? So it's not like this stuff doesn't exist. They do have The Expanse. They're just really focusing on nostalgia, and they've done that for a while.
Donkey balls. Did you just say donkey balls?
The Last Jedi Backlash saw them... Zartar, thank you so much. The Last Jedi Backlash saw them bring back Clone Wars. CBS needs to make a major screw-up beyond anything we've seen consider fixing the problem. Maybe. I mean, that's fair. But I don't know, because they're doing it on the small screen. So they're not taking the chances that you did in the movies. I don't know. The English Gents. Again, guys, thank you so much. Let's all be honest here. Ever since Abrams did his reboot, Star Trek has only gone downhill. Thank God for Seth MacFarlane and the Orville, which is basically TNG 2.0. They even copy episodes directly. Which I like the Orville, don't get me wrong, but it is TNG 2.0.
What are you? A monk?
I actually don't hate the Abrams... I don't hate the Abrams universe. I'll be honest with you. I don't like them trying to say that the Abrams universe is prime timeline or use Abrams technology and say that's prime timeline. I don't like that. I think that is dishonoring the fans and the intellectual property. But I don't hate the Abramverse. I know a lot of people do. And if you take it for what it is, it's not bad. It actually has some interesting implications. The world of Abrams is kind of curious to me. Look at I mean, just consider this, guys. Look how interesting. Look how interesting it is. When Vulcan was destroyed, Section 31 exploded. Section 31 had always been in the background. They'd always been a group of people or just people here and there. There was no office. And now, Section 31, in Abrams' verse, Section 31 is so powerful, they have secret laboratories, secret offices in plain view, in libraries and things. The top Starfleet admiral is a Section 31, quite possibly, probably, is a Section 31 operative. And that's an interesting story to me. You know, if you look at the Abramverse and take it for where it is, that is not a bad universe to look at. Trip the Trippy One, James, why not cover the Orville on your channel? I have actually covered the Orville on my channel. I've done a battle breakdown of it, in fact. I will find that for you, good friend. I will find that for you specifically, because I like you, Trippy, because you're a good guy. But I mean, I cover Orville ever so often. Honestly, it didn't really seem to be that popular when I did it, so I never really went back to it. But that was a while back too, so it's possible that I just didn't have the audience that I do now that may appreciate it as much. But I did it one point. What was it? I'll take a look and I'll find it for you guys in a second. Hello, lore. Late, but here to listen, say Gabriel. What's going on, Gabriel? The best thing about the Abrams timeline is the fact that the engineering now doubles as a brewery. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan. I mean, you can explain that away because of everything that's happened. It drastically, the butterfly effect and all of that good stuff. I don't like what they did to Starfleet. Starfleet Academy, I understand. Starfleet Academy makes sense, so I'm not against that. I don't hate it. But I don't like the brewery by any stretch, and so, you know, that is what it is when it comes to that. I just got logged out. That always makes me worry. Hold on. So when my channel went down due to bots being stupid, it logged me out. So every time it logs me out now, I get scared as hell. So good, my channel still exists. That's always a positive. Whisper Darkling, I feel JJ brought a new element to the Trek universe. It may not be the Trek we know, but that doesn't mean it's bad. A show has to grow and change. If it doesn't, it stagnates. Yeah, the problem, I guess the problem is, and the reason why I don't mind Abrams, I can actually enjoy Abrams, and I don't Orville, is, again, it's a lie. They lied to us. If you hadn't lied to us, I really wouldn't have as much an issue at all. By the way, here's my Orville, the one and only one I did. Yeah, this was a long time ago. Wow, it was back in 2017. And the Battle of Epsilon 2. Star Trek versus Star Wars. In a ship battle, I'd say Star Wars would win. Note, I hate Star Wars, but I'm proving that I will not give bias to Star Trek. I think you're wrong for a couple reasons. Mainly because of transporters. Transporters would defeat most ships. Orville is brain candy. I agree that. Old Data being fat. Was Data fat? I never noticed that. But that would hurt continuity. I agree. Anyone actually been in a real engine room? The original series was trying to streamline that clunky stuff. They left that. Now just has to have a lot of bells and whistles. Yeah, but I mean, Star Trek has never been about being realistic technology-wise. The problem with the Orville is that it is like Family Guy in space. I like the Orville. I also like Family Guy, so I don't necessarily have an issue with that. Though, I think Orville falls into a lot of problems that TNG did, which is to say they've had episodes where rape was okay. It was basically legitimized, and they were fine with it. So there were some things they took from TNG that they should not have. The Borg would obliterate anything in Star Wars, probably. At Lore Reloaded, how would you do Section 31 in Discovery if CBS hired you? Are we talking... So, David Dicer, let me ask you this. Let me get a clarification. Would we have... Do you want me to do it from Season 1 as a rewrite? Which I'll be doing, by the way.
All it takes is one bad day. That's how far the world is from where I am. Just one bad day.
Season 1 rewrite Section 31? Or do I take Season 1... Welcome to becoming a Lore Master Video Gamer? Or do I take all of Season 1 as it happened? Season 2, what do I do with Section 31? Do an at Lore Reloaded for me, David, so I can see it. But which one would you want me to do on that, and I'll answer it. Oh, effing Transporters versus Star Wars. Never thought of it. Yeah, Transporters screw everything up. Star Wars is cannon, batteries, and blasters versus quantum torpedoes, phaser rays, and teleporters. Am I honest? There's no contest. Then again, it's apples and oranges. Yeah, that's one of the reasons I don't like having the doing crossovers, because it's just completely different technologies. Quantum torpedoes phase through shields, though. That's one of their advantages. So I would say that the transporters and the quantum torpedoes give them the upper hand. Whereas phasers would probably be on par or weaker than cannon batteries and blasters, in my opinion. They're probably on par. David Deister, yes, from Season 1 at the beginning and beyond. So here's what I would have done if I wrote Section 31 from the beginning, is that I would have had a lot more of the black uniforms. I would have, if I had to keep the black uniforms, that's stupid, but let's just say I did with the interesting... interesting delta. So I would have had a lot more black uniforms. I would have ever so often throughout episodes, I would have black uniforms show up, or maybe talking with Lorca. And so I really wouldn't do much with it in most any Welcome to Becoming a Lore Master, Blue Eyes 1502, in most any of the episodes. And then towards the end, when it came to the Terran Empire, what I would have done is had it a Section 31 / Terran Empire arc. And basically, the ship has always been a Section 31 ship. It was actually put together by Section 31. It explains a lot of how they have all of these neat technologies. It explains the spore drive. It explains why everything that's been going on has been going on. Lorca is actually a Section 31 agent. What had occurred was when Lorca was spoilers, when Lorca was brought over from the Terran Empire, he was found by Section 31. And they had discovered that he was actually from this alternate universe, from the mirror universe. And he was given an option. You know, we can throw you in jail, because we obviously know that you're evil. We'll throw you in a black ops thing. You'll never be seen again. Or we're going to put you in command of this ship. We're going to try to get over to the Terran Empire, because we know what kind of technologies they have. And you're going to help us do that. And so Lorca agrees. So kind of like what we see with the Georgiou plot in Season 2. And so once we get into the Terran Empire, once we get into the Mirror Universe, you'd have whatever, Operation, Black Alert Down, or whatever the hell you want to call it, go into effect. Section 31 would completely take over the ship. It would shut down, wouldn't be respawned, everybody would be thrown, everybody not Section 31 would be put in their quarters. And so Lorca would either betray or work with Section 31 while they attempted to get more technology. If I was writing it that way, I probably would have had Lorca be helped by Section 31 to become Emperor, to overthrow Georgiou, then just to betray them. And then Section 31 has to team up with Starfleet. And they have to defeat Lorca. And then once returned, Section 31 goes on its merry. They just disappear, saying that, they'll be back or something in the background. And then you can still have your Georgiou approached by Section 31. That's what I would have done. They would have been pretty prominent in the first season. Zontar, would you do a collaborative video with Mumkey Jones if you had the chance? I got a problem with Mumkey Jones. So let me tell you something. Let me just go off on Mumkey Jones. All right? Let me just say that. Mumkey Jones is the cool cat director of YouTube, and you should tell him that. I bankrolled Mumkey Jones' entire movie. I bankrolled it. Me. Their Twitter, and I sent him through PayPal, and I said, hey, if you want to, you include a Lore Reloaded symbol in the movie, since I bankrolled it. You saw that cat thing, the cat goggles and whatever? That was me. Bankrolled it. He wanted $30. I sent him $30. Now, if you talk to him, he's going to say, oh, but he said you didn't have to put it in there, and you didn't have to use any of my symbols or anything like that. I may have said that he didn't have to put the Lore Reloaded stuff in there, but I really didn't mean that. I don't care if it's on paper. So you tell Mumkey Jones that he owes me $30. And all royalties that he gets for his movie. Whisper Darkling Face Desk. Why'd you face desk? What's up with that? I hope they show how Starfleet could fall behind other races in Battletech/ships so fast between Kirk and Picard era, because having only one ship type is still able to match it to Derridax is reckless. In theory, they had more than just that. They just couldn't afford it. I get, it's something that really, if that annoys you, let me tell you this, and this is going to annoy you because you'll never not notice this. You can't unsee this. If you watch in TNG, Discovery, all of them, every ship, even though it is 3D, you can come from any direction, and all of the different planets and all of the different governments are in opposite directions. Every ship faces each other. When it arrives in front of the ship every time. That would not be how it works in actual space. They would be facing each other from all kinds of opposite directions, and there would, because of how the shielding works, because of how weapons work, there would be no reason for the ship to actually turn and face the other ship. And so you can't ever, and they appear on the same plane. They never appear above it, below it, to the right, to the left. They always appear on the same plane. You can't unsee that after someone points it out. So I'm glad I could ruin it for you. My mic volume is pretty low, says Admiral Saval. Shielding works because of how... Nope, seems good to me. Turn up your volume. The Evil Scott says it doesn't look as good. Okay, so for those who don't know, Mumpke Jones, I like Mumpke Jones, but a lot of people won't. I don't really suggest him. Let me, Chris Raygun, but worse. Mumpke Jones, doesn't mind making jokes about, like the Holocaust. He does stuff on school shootings. He's edgy to be edgy. And so I wouldn't suggest him for most people. I think Mumpke Jones is one of those that if you watch what he says and you ignore if you watch what he says and you ignore the jokes, you cannot be triggered by the jokes themselves, then I think that you could enjoy it. There it is. There we go. Sorry, I turned it down. There we go. Yay! I probably just blew everyone's eardrums out. You have to ignore all of his jokes. And if you can do that, he does a lot of interesting things. So let me give you an example. He did... who was the school shooter that Mumpke Jones did an entire series on? I forget his name. But he did a... Jeff Clark, you don't intimidate me at all, buddy. Don't worry. He did a series on a school shooter, and a lot of people had huge issues with it. And because he did jokes, and he even had like his face on it and stuff. And yeah, it's aberrant. I don't disagree with that. But the thing is he actually gives good insight into what causes school shootings and what we can do to impact school shooters. Elliot Rogers. And his ending thing, I think, was so precise on why school shootings happen and how we as a society should look at it. But you have to get past all of the tasteless jokes, is what I'll say. And you know, he's a shock jock. He does shock jock things. But I think that if you gave him a chance and you listen to the actual wisdom that's behind all of the gruffness, there's something there. That's my opinion. If you don't like Mumpke Jones, it's fine. I'm sure I'm going to lose subs because of that. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry I turned it down. That was my fault. I went the wrong way on my volume. And so there we go. It is what it is. True Taylor, who is this again? This is Mumpke Jones. Jeff Clark, nice address. What address are you talking about there, buddy? But yeah, we were talking about Picard. We can go back to Star Trek. I don't care. But for those who have known, Mumpke Jones did a video. It's called How to Stop School Shootings or something. And yeah, if you don't want to be offended or you think that school shootings is something you can't have jokes in, do not watch his stuff, whatever you do. But he, again, he has wisdom if you're willing to just ignore all of that. And so I actually supported the funding, just because, again, if you watch his entire series, I think that anyone who watched it could gather out of that what we would need to help people who have that sickness. Why the hell am I talking about school shootings again? Flucus is leaving because I lowered the volume. There are 3 lights changing. There are 3 lights. I do need to change them. All right, so we'll be ending this fairly shortly. I mean, did you guys have anything else you want to talk about? Anything to go through with Picard Trek show, the new Trek, the fact it's going to be Star Trek Discovery 2.0? Hello, UK. Aerosmith from me here in Texas. What's going on, Jose Girls? How you doing? How you doing? But yeah, if you're a Mumpke Jones fan, then definitely go out of your way to tell him you know, how angry I am, because I'm sure he'll respond to that in a very mature and natural way. David Deister, could you do a Star Trek the Motion Picture Reimagined live stream? I can't wait for your own take on Discovery Season 1. Yeah, I could. Maybe. We'll see how Discovery goes. We honestly will. Starfleet could send or lose plenty of Oberth ships into battle knowing that they don't stand a chance against any ship, so I wouldn't say... Oh, I lost it. Where'd it go? Oh, you deleted it. I was reading it and you deleted it. Never understood why the Romulans tried to invade Vulcan. Isn't Vulcan deep in Federation space? They'd be like the Chinese trying to invade Kansas. Romulus are treacherous. Well, interestingly enough, I like the connection between Romulus and Vulcan. Romulans, not having the logic suppressed, have always wanted to have Vulcan be a part of the Romulan Star Empire. It's like, to take your point, what if, who was it? China. What if China considered, what if Kansas had been settled by nothing but Chinese people? And, you know, China considered Kansas to be Chinese territory, to be a part of the Chinese. So, you know, it's kind of like that, except nothing like that. Lore Reloaded, what is your opinion on Chuck Schumer? Yeah, no, I'm not getting into that. I don't really talk about, you know, things that are worse than Star Trek Discovery. I feel the story behind Romulus was left incomplete. It only stands to reason the Romulans would exodus to a new homeworld, blowing up Romulus' canon, but finding a new world isn't. I agree. I think that they would. And maybe that's where they go with it. Maybe the Romulans try to take over Vulcan, or try to go to Vulcan, and that causes issues, and Vulcans lose their logic, and then they blow it up. Romulus Vulcan is a lot like China and Singapore. Yeah, China and Singapore would be a better example. Yes, Zontar, I think you got it right. Romulus and Vulcan would be a lot like China and Singapore. Except in this example, Singapore would have the... Singapore would be a state of the United States. It wouldn't just be protected. It would be a state. In this period where they don't know what they are doing and have no clue, instead of bastardizing the series, they should do lore installments. Much like you do, good sir. Yeah, I mean, Star Wars does that, so that could be interesting. Do small series. They're doing some minor series. I've been considering that, Alex X. Actually, a video about the economics of Trek and how they trade with neighboring powers would be interesting. There's not a ton of information there. Interesting. I have my editor. He's working on it now. I wanted him to put together a mocking intro of the what is it? Of the game theorist intro. And I was going to tear his video on Star Trek fascism or communism to shreds, because his examples are horrific. I don't necessarily disagree that the government is what he says it is, but it is definitively not why he says. He's wrong on all of his points. No joke. We didn't get it finished because other things came up, so it's not this. And that's why I had another video ready to go live. But no joke. I was going to go live with that video that mocked the game theorists same day we found out about Ronnie. Now, had I had that video prepared and done, and his video come out, I would not have done it under any circumstances. But that's ironic. Why are you guys trying to get me into talking about politics? I have no interest in that. However, I will engage in that one for a second. Admiral Saval says, what's your opinion on Alex Jones being banned from YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter? My understanding... I don't think he's banned from Twitter, is he? My understanding is Facebook hasn't been completely banned. He has been completely banned on YouTube. I have a couple problems with that. YouTube is a private company. First Amendment laws don't apply to YouTube, and anyone who says so doesn't understand how the U.S. Constitution works. That said, it's very scary that they would shut down InfoWars because they don't like because of his wrongthink. I think once they start doing that, then they're going to move to places like Keemstar. They're going to move to places like Steven Crowder, and then they're going to hit more legitimate sites like Philly D. I think it's a slippery slope that we shouldn't go down. They have every right to do it, though. That said, also Shutting down Alex Jones only empowers him. Same thing. It's like the Trump thing. When you try to shut someone down, minimize them, you only take the people who are on the fence and move them that way. And then the other reason that they shut him down was because they said because he got banned and shouldn't be able to live stream, so he went to another channel and live streamed on that channel, and that's against YouTube terms and conditions. Keemstar is my counter to that. They let Keemstar do it. They're obviously just trying to get rid of Jones because they don't like him. Keemstar should be gone. Lore Reloaded. I wonder how upset CBS was that they couldn't scoop up Expanse, sets, and props when it looks like the show was going. They were probably pretty mad. Probably pretty mad indeed. Yeah, I'm not going to talk about that long. The Alex Jones thing, I think, could impact this channel, which is why I wanted to go to it, because I've given more nuanced, middle of the road, part conservative. They could shut my channel down for the exact same reason. So my question to you would be, how would the new bad guy, who would be the new bad guy? Everyone in the Alpha Quadrant is too weak. Borg is a dead horse. You could bring up any kind of... honestly, I think the bad guy should be Starfleet. Starfleet itself should be the bad guy. We should have a civil war. Failing that, they'll probably bring someone from the Delta Quadrant. The Voth would be interesting. The Vidians, even though the Vidians, in theory, have had their issues fixed. A Vidian invasion would be horrific. Would be nightmarish. But I think they'd bring someone from the Delta Quadrant. I'm much into... Yep, that's all I had to say about that, guys. I'm not going to engage any further in that. So if you want to move back to Star Trek, I am more than happy to do that. Nausicaans, I don't think Nausicaans really have the staying power. I don't know. I really don't. Anti-Tracker should be the bad guy. I agree. Oh, man. You guys are all talking about stuff I'm not going to talk about. The Voth, Undine, Crinums, and the Dragon. Crinum could be interesting. Here's an interesting thing. Let's bring the Crinum back. And very first episode, Crinum launch a time bomb and hit Earth. And so now we had a post-Dominion War Starfleet, heavy military that could take on God himself. And they launched this time weapon and and change it so that the Dominion took over. And so now you have a Starfleet Crinum alliance where they're trying to undo the damage. Yeah. I'm thinking about doing something with the Anti-Tracker. For those who have watched the Anti-Tracker, you've seen some of the stuff we've done in the past. I'm thinking about taking the Lore Reloaded, the character, and making some shorts as if it's its own universe, like a lore universe, kind of similar to the Nostalgia Critic type deal. I would like to actually do it a little more professional than what we did beforehand. And if I did, the Anti-Tracker would be the main antagonist of the Lore Reloaded universe. But basically, it would be like the Gaming Heretic, if you've ever saw that. The Lore Reloaded would be basically what I present here. He'd be required to talk about and go into lore and things, and all of the different episodes would be focused around one piece of lore with skits and stuff. Xavier Games, hi Laura, looking forward to seeing you with Trek Yards again. Yeah, they want to do something. I do too. We just need to stop talking about it and do it. A random question. How could the Orions survive so long, even in DS9? They're slavers, but don't really have a government or anything like that. They were a mafia in space. They were overtaken and subjugated by the Klingons. I think we have some evidence in the Enterprise, and I want to say Deep Space Nine confirmed that Orion is in Klingon territory at this point. So that's how they survived. Wish Romulus hadn't been destroyed. I think a Federation Romulan Cold War would occur during the Dominion War. Maybe the Breen could be the new bad guys. Yeah, maybe. Alright guys, I'm about to end this. As always, this has been a lot of fun. Always enjoy having these conversations and everything. Glad you enjoyed it, Jose. I'd love to see a return of an interdimensional species like the Sphere Builders. Have a similar species make a full-on invasion. You know, so they could do a, what is it, 26th or 27th or 30th century where the Sphere Builders try to take over and then you see the battle that we see in Enterprise? How cool would that be? By the way, I love it. So in Enterprise, I confirmed this. I did a video where I talked about... what was that class? There was a ship that was used to trick the Voyager people that it was supposed to be a new type of ship, and it wasn't. And it was made by an alien. And so I said that was an actual class, that Starfleet had actually built it. And then people were like, oh no, that was in Voyager, you idiot. Why don't you stop reading stuff and actually watch the shows? Because that was never a thing. And here's the funny thing. It is an actual class. In that series, it is an actual honest-to-God class. I wish I could remember what it was. It was that alien who was trying to trick them into getting on it so they could all be taken to the Borg. And it used the slipstream. Dauntless class. Thank you. Yes, for the love of me, I couldn't remember. It was the Dauntless class. There is a Dauntless class ship. Starfleet built the Dauntless class ship and used it to fight the Sphere Builders. That was probably people just reusing the ship assets or being idiots and not looking into it. Yeah, I love how the Dauntless class was real and was actually there. And I still catch hell on that video for it. But it's actually a class. Jeff Clark, we might disagree, but you keep it interesting. Thanks for your imagination. Keep on keeping on. People like you are what make true fan. Well, thank you, Jeff Clark. I like you on here, too. All right, guys. So I want to thank you so much. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. And I'm going to see you guys on the very next. Now, what I'm doing right now is trying to buy time so I can find the actual video, or the actual music that we use, which apparently isn't in my history like it usually is. Well, that's unfortunate. I will see you on the next Lore Reloaded.